Yo, I'm going off script with this video. Usually I write a whole ass script for my video, regardless of how long or short it is, but this is I think this is like my first or second time just going off script and rambling about whatever the fuck I want to. So I figured, why not do it in an Overwatch video while I'm making fun of other people who are rambling about shit that they have no idea about. So yeah, this is an Overwatch Anonymous video. And our first submission is, they should release a human Bastion skin and he should scream in pain when switching configuration forms. Yeah, see, we say shit like, listen to the fans, and then the fans in question are this. I think mass banning Mercy is going to really blow up in a lot of teams' faces because they're going to get stuck with a Mercy main who's never touched any other character, choosing Ana and throwing the whole game. Now that's the thing though, Ana in her base state is more powerful than Mercy, provided that you have like the basic human function of pointing your mouse at your teammate and healing them. Ana blows Mercy out of the water. And Nano Blade. All you gotta do is Nano Blade somebody at the right time when they're about to die or when they're about to ult. It's really that simple. Mercy kind of has to, you know, fly around. Okay, so wait a minute. There's this whole elephant in the room that I'm not addressing. There's this whole giant ass fucking rhino that's sitting here fucking farting and I'm not talking about it. How the fuck do you play this game and only play one character? Like, that's something that I will never understand, is how one-trick ponies have any type of fun. And like with certain one-trick ponies like Tracer one-tricks, Genji one-tricks, Doom one-tricks, Ball one-tricks, it's like, okay, I can see how you could have fun playing them for hours on end because they do require a little bit of skill. They are challenging, but then it's then you have motherfuckers one-tricking Lifeweaver. How is that fun? Press the home button on your controller, press the start key on your keyboard. That is more fun than playing Lifeweaver, or not playing Lifeweaver, than one-tricking Lifeweaver. Now I understand like playing them once in a while. Like I play a little bit of Lifeweaver every now and then. I play a little bit of Mercy every now and then. They are fun in moderation, but I can never find a case for playing them and only them. Like that shit would be so mind-numbingly boring. But yeah, the base power level of Ana is higher than the base power level of Mercy. As long as you know the mechanic of looking at your teammates and healing them, you're gonna get more value out of Ana. The only way you wouldn't get more value out of Ana is if you have somebody on the enemy team who's diving you. But chances are, if you're in a rank where you can one-trick Mercy, you're probably not high enough for people to know, hey, we should probably kill the supports. So yeah, there's an epidemic of console players who don't know how to play Mauga at all. 1 out of every 3 Maugas don't know that his E or R1 ability even does. They're not all new players either, and I play in gold. First of all, I play in gold. I feel that because I'm fucking silver, but I'm silver on PC, and I actually know how to play the game a little bit, keyword a little bit. There's an epidemic of console players who don't even know how to play Mauga. Yeah, that's par for the course on console. Here's my hypothesis about why console is more chill, but also fucking hell to rank in. Because on console, on console, you gotta think about who has a console. When I think about who has a PC, grown men, grown women who like playing games, who, you know, bought that shit specifically to play games and to do work. But when you think about, you know, people who have a console, it's gonna be grown men, grown women, but you're also gonna have like kids who got it from their parents. And that's a lot of people, a lot of kids playing Xbox. Pretty much every kid in like America and the West and even the East has a video game console, and their parents are probably just gonna buy them a video game console because it's easier than buying them a whole PC and downloading Steam. Like, it's a lot easier to understand than you have to get a PC, get a monitor, get a keyboard, get a mouse, download Steam. That might seem simple to people like us, like you and me, but for the average person who knows nothing about gaming, it's gonna be easier to buy. It's gonna be easier to buy the product that says, "Hey, I'm for gaming," than a PC that says, "Hey, I'm for gaming, but you have to download this, and you have to download this, and you have to get this, and you have to get that." For us, it's easy, but for somebody who has no idea about gaming, that's probably gonna be, you know, like, why not just buy the Nintendo? And because of that, you got a lot of players who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. You have little Timmy on the PS4 who just likes playing Mauga because he has 2 big chain guns and he likes running around and stomping and going Super Saiyan. My little cousin, he calls it, when Mauga does that, he calls it going Super Saiyan. So you get just younger people on console. and that kind of inflates the rank. So you have the whole thing where like the controller skill ceiling and skill floor is lower than the PC. I mean, the controller skill floor is lower and the skill ceiling is also lower because there's less that you can do on a controller than on a mouse and keyboard. And then you have the added, you know, compounding factor of the fact that there are kids playing all day, all the time on the fucking console. And there are kids on PC, but, you know, not as many of them. When you add that, it's just like, that's honestly a reason why I fucking hate playing ranked on, I love playing ranked on console, but I also hate it because I love it because it's a lot more casual. You're not gonna have that annoying fuck Genji jumping after you every 5 seconds. They're probably gonna be pretty stupid, and you can, you know, have a little bit of fun of them. And they're gonna be more chill. If you say something goofy in chat, they're gonna say goofy things back. It's just gonna be a lot more casual and shit. And on the other side, people on console often have no idea what the fuck they're doing. I've played multiple games on console where people are just completely fucking lost. They have no idea what's going on. And that's one of the upsides of PC, is that at least when you play on PC, people are probably going to have a basic understanding of don't stand in the middle of the street, otherwise you're going to get shot in the head. Console players do not have that for whatever reason, and they just have less awareness, and of course, you know, it takes time to turn around. So like Sombra is, like, characters like Sombra are way more oppressive on console because you can't turn around as fast. You're playing through TV speakers, so you can't hear her as well. Yeah, so there are just a bunch of factors that just lead to decreased awareness, and on top of that, even if you do have the awareness, like me, sometimes you just can't react because, you know, your controller just doesn't do that. I can't turn around fast enough to deal with her. I can't. So yeah, bunch of compounding factors. What if instead of Life Weaver, there was a character called Skeleton Weaver, and instead of Life Grip, he had the Skeleton Grip? Why do I even save this shit, bro? Like I keep on thinking, I save this shit to my phone thinking, ooh, this is gonna be so funny, I'm gonna crack a funny ass joke. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not cracking a funny ass joke. Small curiosity. What competitive modes are you guys queuing in general, and why? And 5v5 was the winner. 5v5 won because it's superior. Alright, Cap. Because you can shine individually as well. And because UTS roll queue. Because, what the fuck? What does that say? And also, because roll queue, which is, oh, because it has, I'm gonna assume that's what he's saying, because it has roll queue, which is superior to open queue. Well, first of all, 5v5 is not superior to 66 at all, and you can shine individually in 66. It is a little bit harder because they haven't rolled back the season 9 health bar changes in 6v6 yet. The season 9 health bar changes were made specifically for 5v5, so I honestly don't know why they're still in 6v6. You can shine individually in 6v6. It's a little bit harder because you have 2 mega tanks instead of, or you have 2 slightly less mega tanks instead of 1 Leviathan tank. At least in 6v6, like, I'm playing as a DPS, I can reasonably take on a tank, or I have a little bit better of a chance of taking down a tank, like countering a tank by picking a DPS, whereas in 5v5, the tanks are basically like raid bosses, especially if you have like a Baptiste and a Mercy or an Ana. They're basically a raid boss. And on top of that, the counter picking is also a thing. Like, counter picking still exists in 6v6. I do counter pick a lot in 6v6, but it's not like rock, paper, scissors, because in 5v5, it's like, they picked Orisa, I have to pick Zarya, they picked Roadhog, so I have to pick Orisa, they picked Zarya, so I gotta go back to Roadhog. But in 6v6, it's like, okay, well, one of them swapped to Reinhardt, and my Sigma is probably gonna get bodied by their Reinhardt, but I can go Ramattra, so even if my tank doesn't swap, I can still save them. Because in 5v5, if their tank is like on Reinhardt and your tank goes Sigma, you're basically cooked. Unless your DPS can make up the difference and make up that space, you're basically cooked, because Sigma does not put on the same amount of up-close pressure that Reinhardt does. So you can't do anything as a DPS unless you like really lock the fuck in. But in 6v6, you don't have to do that because your other tank can pick up the slack, can make that space, and then you can, you know, do what you need to do as a DPS. Now, one thing I will say about 5v5 and 6v6, it does feel worse to play as a support, But hot take, I think that's a good thing because support in 5v5 is fucking busted. You just live forever, you just sit in the back of the team, or you sit in the back of the team, or you sit in the middle of the team, depending on the support you're playing, and you just hold down the heal button and maybe do a little bit of damage. And at least in 6v6, there's another tank, you can get rid of those supports a lot easier. And it makes the support's job harder, meaning they actually have to make smart decisions to keep their team alive instead of just spamming the heals. So that's why I think 6v6 is better. And second, it has role queue, which is superior to open queue. I kind of agree with this, but I also don't agree. Open queue is great because it allows you to flex the team comp. So like, if one of my tanks is retarded, I can politely ask them, hey, I notice you're not doing good on this tank. I'm actually pretty good on that tank. Can we swap? And you have DPS or you have support and I go tank, and you can win that way. So like, if your tank is dog shit, the game isn't over until it's over. You can swap the tank, you can do that. You can provide that space while they take a back seat doing something that they're not as good at. As in role queue, if you have somebody who's just like bad at a certain role, they're not going to magically swap to another role because they can't. They can try to do the job of another role. So if my DPS are shitting the bed, I can swap to BAP and I can try to make up for that damage, but I'm never going to be able to deal as much damage as a soldier that's shitting the bed. I'm never going to be able to make enough damage to make up for that unless I'm really good. But role queue has the downside. A role queue has another downside of queue times. Nobody wants to play tank. Even in 6v6, it's usually people who log in the last or load in the last that get stuck with tank or support. Everyone wants to play DPS, and that's okay because there are some comps where you can just have like one tank and it can work. You can make one tank work in 6v6 with especially with 3 supports. You cannot make a losing tank matchup work in 5v5. You are almost always going to get your shit kicked in. And the Blizzard dev team has sort of been responding to this by sort of homogenizing the tanks and making them all kind of do the same thing, or like have a specific purpose, but you know, they sort of mesh together, like turning Orisa into kind of like an alt Reinhardt, taking away her shield, giving her the ability to just press W. That's one way to solve it, but I feel like the ultimate way to solve it would just be to bring back 6v6. And I feel like if we just had like if we did an experiment where for 10 days the only game mode you could play was open queue 6v6, I feel like queue times would instantly get better. Well, they'd have to accompany it with a rank reset, obviously, but the queue times would be basically instant. You'd have so much fun, and you could swap to anyone you think. And we might even get a few more people who are open to open queue, because the vast majority of people who don't like open queue are saying, oh, what if nobody wants to play support, or what if what if nobody wants to play tank? That's the thing. You have that option to fill that role. Like a lot of times when I'm playing ranked, I'm forced to play tank or support, even though I want to play DPS. I want to get better at DPS, but I'm forced to play tank. I'm forced to play, at least I have that option, whereas if a DPS player on my team in 5v5 is shitting the bed, I can't really do anything, because like, I mean, I could go BAP, I could go Zen, but that's never gonna really solve the problem. Yeah, that's my opinion. Get Quaked On when his steamroller hero gets countered by a cowboy that has been mid as fuck for the majority of the game's lifespan. I will say, Get Quaked On is right about some things. Like the hit scan heroes in this game are oppressive. Not Cassidy, obviously, but like having Soldier and Sojourn and Widow, having to deal with those characters every fucking game is fucking annoying, especially in quick play. But I don't. If he starts talking about how he wants to genocide all Ashe players, I don't think I can agree. I can't co-sign that. Mercy players in Overwatch are proposing a possible Mercy strike where Mercies will refuse to play Mercy. Yes, yes. Ranked players will see their team lock in Overwatch an OWCS backline and still waste bans on Moira Mercy. Honestly, hot take, I think Moira and Mercy are like the best bans, because like every other ban has like branching consequences. Like, no, if you ban Sombra, then the enemy team is free to go ball and roll over you. If you ban like Roadhog, then the enemy team's just gonna pick Zarya and beam the fuck out of you. But out of all the characters in the game that you could ban, Mercy and Moira are by far the characters that don't really have any like consequences to the ban. Like if you have a problematic Genji on your team, you're not picking Moira, you're picking Brig. If you have a problematic, or if you want to damage boost your DPS, well, I guess that's not an option anymore. Or you could just go Zen, and he can actually do a lot of damage on his own, on top of the extra damage that he allows his DPS to do. So it's definitely, Zen is definitely more of a glass cannon than Mercy, but hey, it's an option. So I think out of all the characters in the game that you could ban, Mercy and Moira are definitely like the safest to ban, because like there's nothing that they really offer aside from obviously Mercy's res, but like you don't really need that if you know what you're doing. You shouldn't really crutch that. You should not be counting that. It's helpful, but like that should not be your game plan to res. The game res should not be the main pinnacle of your game plan. Nobody's building a team around that. Out of all the characters you could ban, Mercy and Moira are probably the safest. Never send me this again. Seek a god. Anna Bananan. This is what happens when you leave your DMs open. I just had the rudest team on Stadium ever. Like, oh my god, our poor diva just kept getting flamed, and she didn't say a thing back to them. They just kept calling her a dumbass and shit. Like, it's a game. Go outside. Breathe. I kind of agree with this, but like, okay, I've had times in the heat of the moment where I'll call somebody dog shit, or I'll say like sarcastically, okay, so we're just not even trying, right? Like I do that pretty often. I'm not innocent of being a little bit toxic, but if you're gonna start hurling hurling harder inserts at people, yeah, go outside.
This a 2G Glock, on the phone finna catch this 2G pop. I'm on tour pouring up every pit stop. Nigga reach for this chain, get his shit pop.